encyclical Laudato Si, Pope Francis addresses many controversial issues, one of which being the endangered species issue. In the next 4 to 6 minutes, Ian Boho and myself, John Everly, will be addressing how the world is handling the endangered species throughout, especially in the United States, as well as the Church's stance on endangered species. Now, within the Laudato Si, Pope Francis states, "Nature cannot be regarded as something separate from ourselves, or as a mere setting into which we live. We are part of nature, included in it, and thus in constant interaction with it." Here, Pope Francis states the importance of these animals, plants and animals that we live with, and the importance of human intervention in keeping them around. In the Pope's encyclical Laudato Si, the Pope pays as much attention to climate change as he does to care of the animals and the rest of the earth. He does note at one point how important these animals are to the living on of humans. He goes on and on about our treatment of animals and how we rely on them pretty much as they rely on us, and that if they go extinct now, our children and our children's children will never get to see them, and that is important. The Catholic social teaching mentions how God entrusted the earth and the creatures on the earth to humans, how we are called on to become solid and one and in solidarity with the rest of the planet. So when we go and destroy creatures and these creatures go endangered, it does not only a big detriment to the earth, but humans as well, in the way that we rely on them. So it hurts the ecosystem, and we need to go and rely on more. The Pope calls us out too, asking us to take responsibility for our role in the destruction of ecosystems and the loss of animals and biodiversity. He also calls us out to end this cruel treatment of animals, which has seen the distinction of many of these creatures. One keynote is that he does not only mention them as animals, but creatures as well. And seeing as how humans are creatures, he calls us to defend the life of many of our fellow creatures of God.
Two of the most recognized endangered species in Wisconsin are the gray wolf and the whooping crane. The gray wolf lives in the northern part of the state where there is more woods and more hunting area, but it can also be found in Alaska and Canada. Since the whooping crane has been reintroduced in Wisconsin, this species has taken off. Researchers say that last year 13 cranes hatched in the wild, while years prior only about 3 of them hatched in the wild. To help the whooping cranes migrate down to Florida, people dress like the cranes and fly ultralights to lead the flock down south. Around the world, there are many more, might I say, popular endangered species. Some of them include the giant panda, the blue whale, the snow leopard, the tiger, and the Asian elephant. Arguably the world's favorite endangered species, the giant panda, now has less than 2,500 individuals left. Human population growth is the main factor in the large number of endangered species we have today. According to the World Wildlife Fund, due to destructive human activities, the rate of species extinction has increased from 100 to 1,000 times the natural rate. The loss of habitat due to deforestation and industrialization is the main reason why the number has increased by so much. Another reason for the increase in extinction rates among species is the decrease in genetic variation due to overhunting, overfishing, and inbreeding. Species are becoming less adaptable and more vulnerable to the changes in the ecosystems around them. After learning more about endangered species close to home and ones around the world, I do believe that it has changed how I live day to day. This change may be very subtle, but it is there. It is there in the way I look at the beauty of creation and see how precious it really is. It is there in the way I act, making me more aware of delicate creatures around me. This change that I see in myself is partly due to the Wildlife in Need Center, where I visited and briefly interviewed an employee. The Wildlife in Need Center does not focus on endangered species specifically, but rather all animals in need. Their mission statement is to provide wildlife rehabilitation to Wisconsin wildlife with the intent to release back to their native habitat, conduct research designed to further the positive impact of rehabilitation, and provide quality community education programs and services. In my interview at the center with Jeff Phillips, he told me that a great thing for high schoolers to do to help wildlife is to be environmentally aware of their own backyard. If everyone did something even as small as just keeping their backyard clean and safe for animals, we might not have as many issues with animals getting sick or even dying from litter or other harmful objects found by the precious creatures. For this reason, John and I plan on not only keeping our yards and our neighbors' yards clean, but we also plan on volunteering at the center at least twice this summer. We would be helping with animal care, rescues, and transports, or helping host groups of children at the center learn about the animals that were rescued and what the center does to care for all other injured animals.